The world needs to hear this. Showing how these reptilian bloodlines in this Chittahooly, this reptilian group, expanded their power across the world.
This is what this nonsense is all about. There are lies. There are big lies. There are enormous lies. There are gigantic whoppers. You're dealing with people you cannot rationally have a conversation with.
Hello and welcome to the return of the Dot Connector, the first one of 2025, this year that's going to be utterly crazy. And I think if people think, well, it's been crazy up to this point, well, it has. But crazy gets crazier in 2025.
Welcome to Icke Land, the podcast where I, Thomas Robertson, he, him, take you on a journey through the world of British conspiracy theorist David Icke, a self-confessed, tireless campaigner for truth. It's 2025, and David Icke is back, and he is spitting straight fire. Icke's Dot Connector videos are where he gives us his take on current events and explains how the hidden rulers of the world are really orchestrating everything we hear about in the news. Icke's not holding back, lizards and gents.
What we have been seeing in recent days is what Elon Musk, for one, really is. He's a con man. He's conning you.
Kapow! Icke plants one on the chin and Elon falls. But Icke's stalking larger, fatter, slower game.
And then there's Donald Trump. So many people that supported Donald Trump now, not all of them, a lot of them are doubling down in the hope that he'll do what he said he would do. But a lot of people are looking at his picks for his government and his statements on various things, some of which I'm going to come into now. And they're going, what happened to the Trump that I voted for?
Kapow! Trump, not even inaugurated yet, and Icke's cutting him no slack whatsoever. Wait, what's that I hear? Could that be what I think it is? Yes, I think it is. That's the sound of friendly fire.
Why is Alex Jones suddenly transformed from an anti-globalist to promoting their agenda?
Alex Jones, the info warrior himself, in Icke's crosshairs. Yes, we're looking at the first Dot Connector of 2025 and listening specifically to what Icke has to say about Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and former collaborator, Alex Jones. I can't lie, I'm a little bit excited about this edition of the Dot Connector. Icke is slamming three people I really loathe. Musk, Trump, and Jones. My personal nightmare blunt rotation, as the kids call it. It is a touch bittersweet because it means Icke and I agree on something. Oh well, you have to take the rough with the smooth, I guess, as they say. The fact that we hate the same people for very different reasons does provide me some solace, however. Icke's low opinion of Musk and Trump just goes to show that a broken clock is still right twice a day, silly as his reasons may be. But listening to Icke talk shit about terrible people is a nice change of pace from him just plain talking shit. Icke giving Alex Jones a spray and dumping on his former collaborator for his recent praise of Musk and Trump throughout was pretty darn enjoyable too. Without further ado, let's dig in. Alrighty then, we have to start somewhere, so let's start with Musk. Icke's got a problem with Musk. Elon Musk, not body odor. According to Icke, Musk belongs to the vanguard of what he calls the AI control agenda and is key to advancing the cult agenda.
Oh, look what Elon's doing.
Hey, whoa, David, just settle down, okay? I'm telling him. Said you could hang out, but only if you're cool. Yeah? As I was saying, Icke's problem with Musk is pretty well documented. Again, Elon Musk. Icke's personal grooming is beyond reproach.
I'm pure, I am. I'm nice, I am. Look at my virtue.
David, shush. Put your virtue away. So, what's Icke saying about Musk and the dot connector? Well, don't take my word for it. Let's hear it from the man himself, and then dive in deeper into Icke's gripes with Musk.
So you have Trump come along and just tell them what they want to hear. It's not what he's going to do. He'll do kind of some of it because he can't not do any of it. It'd be too obvious, but he's not going to do most of it. And you have Musk come in. Musk, who positioned himself long time ago as the skeptic about AI, it could be dangerous, could be the end of humanity, and has since just rolled out more and more AI. Crazy. And now we have Musk's mate, David Sachs, appointed to be the driver of AI policy and Bitcoin policy in the Trump administration. We have Musk's mate, Peter Thiel, provides through Palantir technology for the intelligence community and the Pentagon, etc., and overseas intelligence networks as well. And we have Peter Thiel's mate, lots of mateys here, J.D. Vance as the vice president, officially. And we have Musk, along with this guy, Vivek Ramaswamy, or Vivek Ramaswamy, as I call him, who are being given the job of deregulation and of making government more efficient. So what does this mean? It means, in terms of deregulation, deregulating all those things that would slow down, at the very least, the playing out of AI control and the fusion of AI with humans. Efficiency, it means basically handing over power over government to $100 billionaire or 100 billionaires like Musk. And so what we're going to see is this, because we're closing in on this inauguration of Trump now. We're going to see some things done which the MAGA will like. And they're going to go, see, told you, he's doing it. And it will be a mild version of what he said, but that will be the diversion. Oh, look, we're winning. And over here, you're going to have the AI control agenda and the digital agenda rolled out at a very fast speed, aiming towards this key year for them of having so much in place of 2030.
Musk, Sachs, and Thiel are all members of the PayPal mafia, a name bestowed by the media on the founders and early employees of PayPal, who have since gone on to found other tech companies. Of the three, Musk is the last to publicly throw his support behind Trump. Thiel donated to Trump's 2016 election campaign and was a member of his transition team. Sachs hosted a fundraiser for Trump in his San Francisco home in June 2024. Elon played slightly harder to get until he endorsed Trump after the attempted assassination of Trump in July 2024. Of the three, only Musk is in the public eye enough to have had a cameo in Iron Man 2, and won't shut up about AI. So, I guess making him the main player is a pretty good narrative. If any of them, Thiel is the one who frightens me. Thiel helped to fund Palantir in 2003, a software company that initially focused on the development of tools to analyze data for counterterrorism purposes. These days, Palantir's AI tools, such as Gotham and Foundry, are used primarily for data analysis and decision-making in government, defense, and civilian applications. Palantir's platforms specialize in analyzing large datasets to predict outcomes and inform operational strategies. While their tools are used by the US in military contexts, they also support civilian projects like optimizing supply chains and improving healthcare systems. Thiel's connection through Palantir to US intelligence is what Icke was alluding to in that clip when he said Thiel runs intelligence networks. Thiel doesn't run intelligence networks. That's just Icke being Icke and doing his Icke exaggerating. Although that's exactly what a guy running intelligence networks would want us to think, isn't it? Thiel is frightening not because of his connections to US intelligence, but because he's patient and can hold a grudge. In October 2012, Thiel bankrolled wrestler Hulk Hogan to sue Gawker, an online media company. Hogan's suit stemmed from Gawker's publication of a sex tape featuring Hogan. Thiel and Hogan may seem like an odd tag team, but Hogan's case against Gawker provided Thiel with the opportunity for revenge, an opportunity that he had been waiting for since Gawker published an article in 2007 outing Thiel as gay. Thiel had been waiting since 2007 for an opportunity to fund a lawsuit to take down Gawker, and Hogan's suit fit the bill. Hogan ended up winning a $140 million judgment against Gawker, which, obviously, bankrupted and shut down Gawker. But I digress. We're talking about Musk. And speaking of Musk, I don't think I've ever heard Icke say a positive word about him. We heard Icke at the top calling Musk a con man, but Icke's also written that Musk is a fraud and a wolf in sheep's clothing. In his most recent book, The Reveal, Icke writes of Musk, "Musk has a record of telling his company shareholders what isn't true. A group of Tesla shareholders accused Musk in a San Francisco court of lying in a tweet in 2018 about how he had secured funding to take Tesla private, which drove up the share price. The tweet said, 'Am considering taking Tesla private at $420. Funding secured.' This didn't subsequently happen. The share price dropped, and shareholders claimed they'd lost considerable amounts of money. One newspaper reported, while the plaintiffs portrayed Musk as a reckless liar who caused regular people to lose millions, the defense team for the tech billionaire painted him as a well-intentioned visionary who merely used the wrong words in describing the deal. This was far from a one-off for the freedom champion who would appear, from my observations, to have been born with a forked tongue and a Teflon-like quality that makes him untouchable. For a man best known for accusing people he doesn't like of being literal lizard people, Icke's assessment of Musk is rooted close to reality. In that passage from The Reveal, at least. Be that as it may, Icke's dislike of Musk has little to do with duping shareholders. Icke claims here in the dot connector that while Trump distracts us all, Musk is pursuing the cult's quote-unquote AI control agenda. According to Icke, Musk is a cult asset whose companies, SpaceX and Neuralink in particular, are instrumental to what Icke calls the cult's AI control agenda. What is the AI control agenda? Glad you asked. The AI control agenda is the cult's transhumanist agenda, which will transform our species from, as we are now, what Icke refers to as biological human 1.0 to synthetic human 2.0. By 2030, the cult aimed to have begun integrating the human mind with AI. The purpose of Human 2.0 is to allow AI to increasingly do all our thinking for us, limiting our perception of reality and thus preventing us from expanding our consciousness and achieving expanded awareness of our true spiritual nature. By 2030, AI will also augment the cult's surveillance of us, tracking and recording our every thought, conversation, and action to ensure our compliance. To understand Musk's role in the AI control agenda, we need to unpack how all of this is playing out, according to Icke. The first step, of course, was to infect our bodies with self-replicating nanotechnology, which Icke calls graphene oxide. In order to do this, the cult, orchestrated a pandemic hoax, COVID-19, of course, and thereby convinced us to volunteer for injections of graphene oxide, which was sold to us as vaccination against COVID-19. Here's Icke explaining to Brian Rose on London Real in August 2024.
The whole point of the illusion of the COVID virus was to get people to have the COVID jab. So now we come round to the AI. I've been in contact. In fact, they contacted me, first of all, a really great group of people in Spain called La Quinta Columna. They are a group of science researchers who first realized that there was something called graphene oxide in the vials. And they contacted me because they said, we've established that what you said in April 2020, there is no virus, is true. And also, funnily enough, and this is a completely different subject really, although connected, that what you're saying about a non-human force being behind global manipulation is also true. And apparently they tell me they're going to bring out a book in English shortly, which is going to be based on that.
I just kept that aside at the end of that clip from David because it's so absurd. Oh, by the way, you know, the scientists tell me that they have proof of a non-human force controlling us. Don't bury the lead like that, David. That's the most important part, not this vaccination bullshit. Anyway, so, yeah. The graphene oxide is in the COVID-19 vaccinations. Okay, so then what? Well, here's a clip of Icke explaining from the same interview with Brian Rose.
Because the idea, graphene oxide amplifies the effect of electromagnetic fields in the body, is that through the medium of this electromagnetic field, the cloud, they will connect to this self-replicating nanotechnology in the body, like graphene oxide, and it will become your mind. It will become your perception. It will control what you think. And, you know, I've come across so many people, and many people watching this will go, yeah, so have I, who've said that when their family member or someone at work had the fake vaccine, especially lots of them, they changed their personality. They weren't the same people. But if graphene oxide gets into the brain, it's a superconductor of electricity. It's going to scramble the way the brain processes information. So, of course, people aren't going to be the same.
Supposedly, the graphene oxide connects you to the quote-unquote the cloud, and that's when your mind is no longer your own and you're under the control of the AI. Here, finally, in this clip, we come to Elon's part in all this. Forgive me for subjecting you to a longer clip from the same interview again, where Icke explains Musk's part in all of it.
But the whole point is that the cloud is meant to communicate to the nanotechnology self-replicating systems in the body, not least the brain, and become the human mind. Now, when I talk about Elon Musk, he's doing things that are advancing this agenda. But in terms of Neuralink, where he's saying that they have to take a piece of skull out and put these wires in the brain, that is not how it's going to be. It's not how it's unfolding. What he's doing is selling the concept. He's selling the concept of an AI computer program connection to the human brain. But it's light years ahead, behind what's actually happening. And it's interesting. I mentioned this in the reveal. He was asked in an interview, which I saw on the internet, but you know, how many people are going to want a bit of their skull taken out? You know, and he said, "Oh, well, you might not have to do it like that. You might be able to get in to the brain through the veins, through the blood. Exactly what's happening, and he bloody knows it. What you've got, and 5G is a big step forward in this, and 6G is already the pipeline, 7G to come. You've got these towers, these posts all over urban areas with the 5G now, more and more. And by the way, during COVID, when everyone was locked away, only essential work, non-essential work, no, you can't do it. What was considered essential work during the COVID when everyone was shut away? Putting up 5G towers everywhere. But you're not going to get to every inch of the planet via towers in the street. To get everywhere, you need low orbit satellites. Please enter, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Elon Musk and SpaceX. SpaceX is promoted as like a private company. It's NASA and the Pentagon. That's what it is. If you look at the funding of SpaceX, it's NASA and all that stuff. And SpaceX is putting up tens of thousands of low orbit satellites to project at the Earth electromagnetic communication systems they call Starlink. In fact, he's just got, this is the man, by the way, Brian. This is the man who's a threat to the system. Ooh, Elon Musk, they want to silence him. They want to stop him. He's just been given the contract by the Pentagon for a government military version of Starlink, which is unique to them, right? Communication system. You believe in free speech, do you, Elon? Oh, yeah.
So, there it is. Icke casts Elon in the dual role of selling the public on the benefits of the human-AI integration via Neuralink and providing the much-needed satellites in low Earth orbit to connect us to the cloud via SpaceX. Although Musk's role in the AI control agenda is unique, the character assassination isn't. Icke is typically disdainful of billionaires as a rule, and he gives us a taste of that in the dot connector here.
And like I say, already, even before they've officially come to office, many people in the MAGA arena have gone, hold on a minute, we never voted for this. Others, of course, are quite happy for Trump and Musk to do exactly the same as the Democrats did because it's our side doing it now, so it's okay. So, that's terrible. That Soros is manipulating with his billions. Okay. Oh, that Bill Gates. Oh, have you seen him? He's doing all this stuff and billions and oh, look what Elon's doing with his billions. Naivety. The human disease. Soros, Gates, Schwab, Musk, Trump, Ramaswamy, Vance, Thiel, Mark Andreessen, David Sachs, all on the same team using different rhetoric to make you think they're not. The outcome? The same.
Makes me look forward to Icke's new ASMR project where he just lists billionaires for you until you drift off to sleep. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Icke's got a knack for identifying a real problem. but then blaming a lizard person. The rich using their wealth to influence politics is a real problem. People are angry that Musk and his ilk have access to President-elect Trump by grace of having an obscene fortune. In my opinion, their anger is justified, but regardless of where you stand on whether it is or it isn't justified, people's distaste for the billionaire class, especially in the US, is increasingly being voiced. The outpouring of praise for the actions of Luigi Mangione, accused of shooting healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, has for some raised him to the level of folk hero Robin Hood. And although his alleged motivation for the shooting of Thompson was retaliation for claims denied by his health insurance, memes and declarations followed in the wake of that shooting that Mangione had fired the first shots in the class war and signalled now was the time to eat the rich. When Icke does this sort of thing, I wonder, is he an opportunist or just picking up on the zeitgeist? Does Icke see an opportunity to create a conspiracy narrative around a subject that resonates with people, or is he just riffing on the news, creating conspiracy jazz? The strange thing is, if Icke were to engage in a class analysis like that, you may well disagree with him, but at least it would be an analysis worthy of consideration and not immediate dismissal. I think he would have a larger, more popular following as a commentator if he just stopped short of adding, "It's the cult agenda," as an explanation to everything. You're over the target, David, but then you open the Bombay doors and drop turquoise tracksuits on us all. Don't get me wrong, I don't think Icke's analysis here is especially nuanced or interesting. Icke's basically just accusing both sides of American politics, Democrats and Republicans, of being different riders of the same horse, whose stable fees are picked up by the ultra-wealthy in exchange for access. He's not saying anything particularly insightful. Anyway, money and politics, eh? Name two great tastes that taste better together. And who is a gaudier example of the two than President-elect Donald Trump?
And then there's Donald Trump. So many people that supported Donald Trump now, not all of them, a lot of them are doubling down in the hope that he'll do what he said he would do. But a lot of people are looking at his picks for his government and his statements on various things, some of which I'm going to come into now. And they're going, what happened to the Trump that I voted for?
So, Trump's had some nutty things to say recently. I mean, what else is new? But the focus, rightly, has been on the stranger things Trump has said about the Panama Canal, Greenland, and renaming the Gulf of Mexico.
Donald Trump did not rule out using military force to take control of the Panama Canal and Greenland, and announced a bold plan to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Changes everything. The president-elect, 78, announced his threat of coercion on the global stage and the name swap during a wild and wide-ranging press conference at Mar-a-Lago. Just 13 days before the inauguration, he said the United States was entering the golden age, which is occult symbolism, by the way, and will take off like a rocket ship. One of Musk's, I take it. When he gets the keys back to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, he said as well that the United States needs Greenland for national security. You need it for the resources and the fact it's part of the cult plan, which I'll come to as we go along. And questioned whether Denmark had any legal right or interest in the territory. He said that if Denmark tried to hold on to Greenland, they would face heavy economic tariffs. There you go, man that believes in freedom. Freedom of thought and freedom of action without tyrants imposing their will upon you. And he said that if Denmark, tried to hold on to Greenland, heavy economic tariffs, he also argued that the people of Greenland would vote to become part of the United States.
It's funny how Trump's most batshit ideas pale compared to Icke's, but here we are listening to Icke criticize Trump. Just another pointless conversation on my part, I suppose. Anyway, let's hear David's analysis.
Well, I remember, because I'm old and I've been doing this a long time, back in the 1990s, when it was very much part of the alternative media analysis, that the plan was for a North American Union, a fusion of Canada with the United States and Mexico, basically mirroring the European Union, because the more you centralize power, the more power the few have over the many. And the line was in the 1990s that this NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreement, was the stalking horse for eventually this political economic fusion of those countries. Now, here's another map which came out of the Club of Rome. The Club of Rome was created in 1968 to use concerns about the climate and the environment to justify centralization of power. And of course, they've done it ever since. And human caused global warming is all part of that package, that approach. And they came out with a map of how they wanted to break the world up into regional groups, which of course would be controlled centrally by a world government. And, what did they say? They wanted a fusion of the United States, Canada, and, Greenland. And that is the reason all this is going on. Trump may say, I'm anti-globalist. He's absolutely globalist. He's having you on. He's tricked you again if you bought the line.
Trump is globalist, balls to bone, eats, sleeps, and sweats globalist. Cut him, and he bleeds globalist. Tying it all together, a classic Icke move. See? Club of Rome. I knew it was them. Ask anyone. Just the other day I was saying how you can't trust the Club of Rome. Actually, I thought the Club of Rome was something the Pope used to scare cardinals into finishing their vegetables. Founded in 1968, the Club of Rome is a think tank of scientists, economists, business leaders, current and former heads of state, focused on environmental, economic, and social issues. They produce reports and publications about global issues with an emphasis on sustainable development and systemic change to address complex issues facing humanity. Ironically, they actually do the thing that Icke claims to be doing, reporting on issues of global consequence. The Club of Rome has been the subject of conspiracy theories since the publication of their 1972 report, The Limits to Growth. The 1972 report, which warned of the consequences of overpopulation and resource depletion, was interpreted by conspiracy weirdos as evidence of a secret agenda to reduce the population. But don't just take my word for it. Here's conspiracy weirdo Alex Jones to explain it in a Texan accent.
The Bilderberg-dominated Club of Rome advocated environmentalism as the best front to implement population reduction. Western populations would accept serfdom if it was packaged as saving the earth. industrialization of Africa, Asia, and Latin America could be blocked. Citizens would more willingly give up their national sovereignty if it were sold as a way to help the planet. The think tank also concocted the peak oil fraud as a way to create artificial scarcity. And the Club of Rome has been aggressively pushing a global carbon tax as a way to fund their planetary government.
If only real life were so exciting. Since the early 90s, proposals have been made to deepen ties between the US, Canada, and Mexico to create an economic and political union. Proposals for the formation of a North American Union have explored various levels of integration between the three countries. The Council on Foreign Relations, one of the boogeymen who haunt Alex Jones, have sponsored reports analysing the idea. Robert Pastor, a political scientist and National Security Council official under President Carter, rest in peace, is also closely associated with the idea, having been part of the task force which produced the reports for the Council on Foreign Relations and publishing The North American Idea, a Vision of a Continental Future in 2011. Proposals for the NAU often look to the European Union as inspiration, including the creation of a North American Monetary Union and the adoption of a continent-wide currency, the Amero, inspired by the European Monetary Union and the Euro. I'm only going to touch on this generally because there's been a lot of proposals and the specifics of each of them vary. Do you know which country is never included in these NAU proposals? Greenland. Suffice to say, the North American Union is an idea that's been kicking around since the 90s. It has, to the best of my research, never included Greenland, and at no point has it had an iceberg's chance in hell of implementation. Having fun with puns. Since when have the facts stopped a conspiracy theory, though? Icke states unequivocally here that the Club of Rome is behind the NAU proposal, but I found no evidence linking the two. The only linkage between the Club of Rome and the proposals for the NAU appear to be from Bill Cooper's dogshit book, Behold a Pale Horse, which quote-unquote reproduces regionalized and adaptive model of the global world system, a purported Club of Rome document which divides the world into 10 regions for the sake of economic analysis. I couldn't find evidence that this is an actual Club of Rome document. Even if it were, the contents are banal. Countries are grouped together for the sake of economic analysis, which means the evidence for the conspiracy boils down to the methodology chosen by some Club of Rome statistics nerd. Icke is conflating this report Bill Cooper has reproduced with proposals for the NAU because the US and Canada are grouped together within the report for purposes of modelling. Note that Mexico is not included with the US and Canada, nor is Greenland either, so, as usual, Icke's reaching. Icke also touches on Trump wanting to add Canada to the United States and plays a clip of Trump rambling to a journalist about it. I'll spare you, because I'm sure we're all going to hear enough from Trump over the next 4 years. Suffice to say, Trump claims it costs the US too much money to protect Canada. Whatever that means. The only reason I mention it is that Icke uses it as a segue to dunk on Alex Jones.
I remember when people like Alex Jones railed against the North American Union. They said, this is the globalists. And now they're saying things like, Canadians should have a vote on whether they are going to join America, become another state. Why is Alex Jones suddenly transformed from an anti-globalist to promoting their agenda? Oh, well, it's what Trump wants, you see. We're not the alternative media anymore. We're propagandists for the Trump regime. Oh, and Elon Musk wants it and all that. So we better want it as well. And he posted something, Alex Jones, this week, which said, today is the day that the globalist, Anglo-American, neoliberal New World Order died. It didn't, Alex. Justin Trudeau's resignation is the first domino to fall in a series of massive globalist failures worldwide. Thanks to Elon Musk and X. No, mate. The way they're selling the same agenda has changed so that they can pull in those that previously opposed it, like you. So this is Alex Jones, in my view, just my opinion, talking total crap.
Makes me giggle each time I hear it. Yes, so sorry to be the one to tell you, Alex, but David isn't your friend anymore. Alex, once regarded by Icke as a fellow crusader for truth, is now decried as a propagandist for Trump. Icke's not finished skewering AJ just yet either.
Alex Jones is, this is quite encouraging, actually. Alex Jones's slavish eulogization and worship of Musk and Trump is starting to lose him a lot of support, because people are looking at it and saying, what happened to the old Alex Jones that used to push back on all this, and now you're supporting it? And Alex posted a video this week saying Elon has done more in the fight against the neoliberal global tyranny. It's not neoliberal, it's a tyranny, and it crosses all parties, including those you support, Alex. He's done more in the fight against the neoliberal global tyranny than anyone except Donald Trump in the last 100 years. Elon Musk is a game changer, he said. No mention of the fact, and I'll come to later on in the dot connector, that Musk has been targeting and censoring people who supported Jones and wanted and campaigned to get him back onto X, but have been targeted by Musk in the last week or so because they disagree with him on something, which I'll come to as we go along. So it's become embarrassing as someone who, well, the alternative media didn't exist when I started out. I watched it appear and I watched it grow and I was delighted about it. But now I watch so many of the people who claim to be alternative producing embarrassing, backside kissing videos like this one.
What the hell? And he's exposing Jeffrey Epstein and the CIA. Hell, last week he put out tweets about the CIA at war with America. God almighty. Jones sold out retweeting that. God, I apologize to all of you. I'm sorry. I sold out. I tried to stop the pedophile rings, the giant Muslim kidnapping rings. I'm sorry. I kissed Elon Musk's ass. We're so close to getting the globalists. I want their throat. I want victory. And now you can see it. And you guys think you're going to harass Elon Musk and push him off of supporting Trump and divide Trump and Elon? You're not. We have already beaten your ass. Oh, let's continue.
The turnaround has been shocking and so blatant that so many people are seeing it.
David's trash talk of Alex has the energy of a dumped girlfriend shit-talking her ex-boyfriend when she sees him hand in hand in the schoolyard with his new girlfriend. And I love it. The icing on the cake for me is this clip here where Icke longs for the days when you could really count on the alternative mainstream media, which Icke lumps Jones in as a part of, to give you the straight dope and tell you what was really going on.
Those were the days when the mainstream of the alternative media was truly alternative, unlike what it's become. And you have to go further out now before you hit the people who are really credible and really care about exposing this cabal of evil that's pushing humanity in the direction of total human AI control.
I love this dichotomy Icke presents of distinguishing the conspiracy theorists and shouty weirdos who support Trump from the ones who don't, and accusing the ones who do of being too mainstream. Hipster David. We now have the mainstream media, the alternative mainstream media, and the credible alternative mainstream media. David and Alex are fighting. On the downside, I feel like my parents are getting divorced, but on the upside, I'm getting 2 Christmases. Ironically, David, I think Trump coined a phrase for what you're accusing Jones of. Fake news. Maybe David is just jealous of Alex's new look. Have you laid eyes on Alex Jones lately? I hadn't seen him for yonks, and he's lost weight and shaved his head, and combined with the new wardrobe, Alex looks like, I don't know, what I could only describe, I imagine, the Church of Satan founder Anton LaVey would look like if he founded a militia. If you'd like to keep up with Alex Jones, I highly, highly, highly recommend Knowledge Fight. It's an amazing podcast which keeps up with Alex's moronic exploits. Dan and Jordan are incredible and an inspiration to me personally here at Icke Land. I can't recommend it enough. Anyway, that's it for this edition of Icke Land. Thank you for listening. If you would like to support the show, please jump on the Patreon and become a supporter. I've also just set up a Ko-fi account, so if you don't want to support me on a month-to-month basis and you just want to chuck some dosh my way on a one-time basis, every little bit is very much appreciated. Currently trying to get some cash together to get a new, better microphone to improve the old sound quality here. This microphone I bought from a supermarket really isn't cutting it. I think we can do better. I think we can do better, is all I'm saying. Anyway, if you want to contact me or you would like to reach out with a correction, which are always encouraged, please email me at icelandpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and until next time, avoid becoming an angry Texan who gets sued for libeling the parents of children who are killed in a school shooting. I don't know, that one got away from me. But thank you for listening. Bye now.